Oh, to kind of wrap up this thing on slavery in the Bible, I have 2 points. One is something my son texts to me, and I think it's relevant. He says it's worth acknowledging that Jesus' ministry began with his Luke 4 visit to the synagogue. The scroll portion he reads makes it clear that he and the Father are interested in freedom for slaves. And Neil goes on to say, I think it's awesome that Jesus reads Isaiah here. He's not saying God used to like slavery, but I don't. No, the promise of the Messiah all throughout the Old Testament has included the reminder that God sees oppression and is not okay with it. The Luke 4 passage, verses 17 through 19 are, and the scroll of Isaiah the prophet was handed to him, and he unrolled the scroll and found the place where it was written, The Spirit of the Lord is upon me because he anointed me to bring good news to the poor. He has sent me to proclaim release to captives and recovery of sight to the blind, and to set free those who are oppressed, to proclaim the favorable year of the Lord. And I will remind you that Hebrews 1 tells us Jesus is the exact representation of the Father. It is not and never has been God's desire for people to enslave other people. But as God puts it in the Old Testament, he's working with a stiff-necked people. He's working with people who are proud. He's working with people who want to be their own gods unto themselves. He's working with people who think they're smarter than him. He's working with people who think their morality makes more sense than his morality. It's always been that way. So he works with this stiff-necked people. He works with us in spite of our failures in his way to move us toward the goodness that is him. Whatever slavery there has been, whatever slavery there is, and there still is, it is not God's perfect will and never has been that man should enslave man. And my other point is, if you believe the God of the Bible is real, if there is a God who created us and sustains us by his power, as it explains in Genesis, then it is illogical for us to argue with him. If he made us to be consistent with what he believes is good and what he believes is true. It is totally illogical to disagree with his sense of morality. And some of the comments that I see on here are stupid if God is real. And if God is not real, then what's your complaint? Everything that happened in the Old Testament is just people doing what people do to other people. So the bottom line is you either can't blame God for what goes on in the Old Testament, or you shouldn't. And all the argument and all the disagreement and the comment after comment after comment really boils down to, is God real? There isn't anything else to argue. Is God real? Forget about all the others until you answer that.